Hey, what's up, guys? It's Russo, and it is week 8 in the NFL, and we've got 6 teams on bye, so it took me a little bit longer with my research, but I've got 8 total breakdowns I'm going to cover in this video. We've got a 6-man on Prizepicks. You can mix and match this any way you like, and I also have a ladders slip that I'm going to break down that is up to 500x. Some plays with upside that I think have the potential to hit those top tiers and also feel like safe floor plays on the low tiers. 2 of the players are actually also in this Prizepicks slip. So that's why we've got 8 total breakdowns. Before we get into all the details, if you guys don't mind, do me a favor, like the video. It just helps me out with the algorithm. That's the way YouTube goes. And also, the more you like the video, the faster my notifications will get to you. That's also the way their algorithm works. Drop me a comment if you guys have questions about plays. I'll hop on my tools and try to get back to you. We also have 6 days left of our fall sale for our premium Discord. If you want to come join our community, use code FALL when you're signing up over at Patreon, and you'll get 75% off for your first month. And it's been super active since we've got NBA going. There's just so much action in the NBA. It's every single day. Larger slates, and the action within the actual games is so constant that the optimizer is just constantly putting plays on our radar. But yeah, so come join our community. If it doesn't link you straight to the Discord, there's a link below for the Discord as well. I mentioned this is probably going to be a longer video, so those of you who don't know, I add chapters to my videos. So if you want to jump around to different breakdowns, you should be able to hit any of the timestamps below and jump right to the play you're looking for. All right, so let's talk about the plays for Prizepicks. We're going to go Cam Skattebo over 14 fantasy score, Jamar Chase over 7.5 receptions, Alex Pierce over 35.5 receiving yards, Dallas Goedert, we're going back to the well with him. We're going to take his receiving targets over 6.5, Cade Otton, like him, over 36.5 receiving yards, and Jordan Love, we're going to just keep riding this one until it fails us. And this might be the week it does. It is a tougher matchup, but I think that he tends to actually scramble a little bit more when he's got a little bit more pressure. So we're going to still ride this over the 12.5 rush yards. Now for the ladders play, these plays that I'm really into, we're going to go Chris Olave over his receiving yards. It's set at 50, 63, and 100 for the 3 tiers. Cade Otton, we're going to take that. Receiving yards, 25, 40, 80. And then Courtland Sutton, we're going to take his receiving yards, 45, 64, 120. And then we got the Alec Pierce play. I think I said Alex a second ago. Alec Pierce play, 20, 36, and 90. It's a little bit smaller on the screen I'm looking at, so bear with me when I'm reading these slips up front. But so yeah, if you haven't played ladders, for the first tier, you're guaranteed some of your money back, at least 1x. In this case, I think it's 2.5. And then you hit your, if all 4 of your guys hit the next tier, you get a higher multiplier. And I know this one in particular, I want to say, let me just double check real quick. I want to say it, I think this one might actually be, yeah, it should be 500x. If all 4 of these hit all the top tiers. So let's start getting into it. If you guys haven't signed up for Underdog yet, use code BACKDOOR. They're going to give you $100 in bonus funds when you play your first 5, as long as you throw that code in. And if you haven't tried ladders, you're really missing out. You guys know how I like to put out demon plays, especially for football. Ladders is pretty much like a safer way to play the demon plays, in my opinion. The fact that a 4-man could hit 500x is awesome. And these lines, they are set higher than like the highest demons on Prizepicks if you hit those top tiers, but it's also a smaller slip. So a lot of fun, and you're covered if they don't all hit the top tiers. As long as you get past that first tier, which is kind of like just having all goblins, you should be good to go. So also streaks is a lot of fun. So sign up below, use code BACKDOOR, and you'll get $100 in bonus funds. And then Chalkboard, use code BACKDOOR, and you'll get a free pick plus 100% deposit match when you sign up. They also have killer alt plays, a fun platform. It's mobile only, but the interface is awesome. So if you guys haven't checked that out, it's a killer app. All right, so let's dive in. This is going to be, I'm going to try to get through this quick, but we'll see how that goes, because I'm going to cover bonus plays at the end too for Prizepicks. We'll do a little Underdog as well, so stick around to the end. All right, so Cam Skattebo, I have faith in him, but I do have some reservations about him totally going off like he did last time. First of all, he had 3 touchdowns in that last game. I don't expect him to do that again. He went for 31 fantasy score. I still expect him to get this done though. The situation here with Philly, when he played last time and he was absolutely doing whatever he wanted, Jalen Carter was not in that game, and he's back for this game, and he's basically their best piece, their best defensive piece for sure. So that's going to make things a little bit more difficult with getting into the end zone. I do think he still has the potential to do so because Cam is also just an absolute monster. I trust him in very difficult situations. But I don't expect this massive score. I think he's getting over 14 though, because in games where he started, where he actually doesn't get into the end zone, I'm pretty sure every game that he doesn't get into the end zone, he has 6 receptions at least. So we can get there with PPR, full point PPR and Prizepicks. We can get there just from passing volume. I expect him to still do better than most running backs against Philly. They are also playing in Philly. I believe last time it was a home game for them. So they're on the road. They got Jalen Carter back, a little bit more difficult, but I still have faith in him getting this done. Let's see. They actually don't have a whole lot of pass running backs here. Let's look at the matchup on paper just a little bit. We'll go rushing and receiving. Take a look at that real fast. So yeah, somewhat favorable. 21st in rushing yards allowed, middle of the road with receiving yards, 16th in receiving yards allowed. Specifically to running backs, it's a little bit harder with rushing yards, 18th. They're allowing about 93.6 rushing yards to running backs a game. And then through the air to running backs, it's actually softer, 21st. They're allowing about 31.3. Let's see what some pass running backs have done here. This target share, we'll take a look. So yeah, that last time that they matched up, he went for 110 total yards. His line was set at 65.5. Yeah, Jordan Mason, he went for a total of 57, but that dude's been kind of a disappointment just in general. He didn't really seize his opportunities with Aaron Jones out. Now Aaron Jones is back, and Aaron Jones looks like the better back, but we're not here to talk about Jordan Mason. But yeah, I'm kind of not surprised that they weren't very effective. The Vikings looked terrible in that whole game. But yeah, if you go back here a little further, you got J.K. Dobbins. He went for a total of 84 rushing and receiving. He beat his line of 56. Bucky Irving, when he was healthy, went for 165. Was just dominant. His line was set at 85.5. You got Rachaad White in that same game, beat his line 46, and his line was set at 24.5. And then way back here at the back in September, Kyron Williams went for 112. So the matchup is still solid to running backs. I'm just saying, don't expect, I would love it. It could happen. We could see another monster game. But from Cam, I hope so. I'm starting him in Dynasty this week. But yeah, I'm just saying temper expectations a little bit based off of what happened last time. And we'll be good to go here. Let's take a look and see what the optimizer thinks here. It's been a long day. I'm going to try not to fumble my words here through this video. Okay, so yeah, so they're favoring a decent amount of his stuff under. Let's make sure we got the S there, so we're not giving us Cam Ward plays. Yeah, so they're favoring there's a lot of juice on him going under his rushing yards. And the other thing about Jalen Carter being in the game is that's going to potentially affect the productivity of Jackson Dart as well. So if the whole offense is having a little bit more trouble this time around, it just could change the dynamic of the game a little bit. So they got a lot of juice to his under on the rushing yards. Maybe the rushing yards alone, maybe he'll have a little bit of a tough time getting things rolling on the ground. We'll see. They like him under 14 rush attempts as well. See, I don't know. This is where I'm like, I got to disagree here. Like, I'm not taking the under on him getting one rushing receiving touchdown, because if they get close, which I think they will, he's very hard to stop. I don't care how good you are on defense. He's very hard to stop. So yeah, they like the under on him getting in the end zone. They like his fantasy score under. Yeah, they're thinking the Jalen Carter situation is for real. So go with your gut. His receptions are even cheaper on Prizepicks at 3. They've still got it favored under. There's a lot of juice to the under on his 3.5 receptions. That's crazy. So Pinnacle has the 3.5 receptions at a -169 to go under. Let's take a closer look at this. So we got a 43.5 point over under. Philadelphia favored by 7.5. So they are expecting this to be convincing. And maybe it will be. The thing is the Giants are beat up on defense right now too. But I think if they're playing from behind, Skattebo is going to be. I mean, I wouldn't want to take the under on his receptions personally. So you guys go with your gut. Maybe this play isn't for you. I'm taking it. I already have it locked in, and I'm also trusting him to win me my week in Dynasty. So they like the rushing receiving yards over. That's the one thing they like over. 77.5. They've got it favored to the over. 50.34% odds to hit the over. This has happened before. Where the optimizer and the odds makers disagree with us, and we end up cashing. So that's up to you guys. They also like this Cam Skattebo plus Saquon Barkley rushing yards combo under 138.5. Ton of juice to the under. 62.43% odds to hit the under. -166. Yeah, maybe. I just don't know. I mean, like the Giants still have Brian Burns, but they're missing Paulson Adebo and Jalen Holland. So I don't know. We'll just have to see how that goes. So if they can get the pass game going, that might open things up for Barkley a little bit too. Okay, moving on. Jamar Chase. This one's pretty simple. 7.5 receptions. We're going to take it. We're not scared of the Jets. I know they're good, but he just had 16 receptions against Pittsburgh. We've got the Joe Flacco effect. So let's actually just do this for fun. We're going to go to games with Joe Flacco and see what that's looked like since he's been there, because he's just been heavily targeting. So yeah, didn't go so well in that game. Oh yeah, it's because I think that was when Flacco was playing for Cleveland. So I could be wrong, but I think against Green Bay was his first game starting for the Bengals. And he heavily targeted him in that game. Well, there was really good catch rate as well. So 12 targets, 10 receptions against Green Bay, who's also tough on defense. Then Pittsburgh, they're kind of like, yeah, they're not what they used to be on defense. Not right now, they're not. Ranked 30th. But yeah, 16 receptions on 23 targets. And you could see like they just had no answer, and Flacco was just going to him over and over and over in so many different ways. So I like him to get at least 8 receptions in this game. And like we said, the matchup is tough. It is the Jets. As bad as they are, they're still teams don't tend to put up a bunch of receptions on them. They're ranked 6th, 18.4 per game overall. To wide receivers, they're ranked 9th, 11.1 per game. I think that the Bengals are going to be able to pick this apart, though. I think it just doesn't matter. I think Flacco is going to just, if it's just a bunch of dump offs, just to chip their way across the field, I think that they'll do it. So if you look at this game here on the 19th, Xavier Legette, which was Andy Dalton, I believe, started that game. So you have another veteran coming in and saying, like, I'm going to pick my target, and I'm going to just hammer him with targets. So Xavier Legette's line was at 1.5 receptions. He had 9 receptions. Jalen Coker had none. Tedero McMillan had 3. It just happened to be Xavier Legette time. And then, yeah, I mean, they have slowed down other teams. With the Cowboys, you had Ryan Flournoy, however you say it, Flournoy. I think I need glasses, y'all. I think I'm finally at that age. His line was at 1.5. He had 6 receptions. So go with your gut. It's Jamar Chase. I'm not scared off by the Jets personally. Let's take a look. I think if anything, it's giving us that receptions line at a good value. And they like it over. They got it as the top play. Is his receptions over. 51.43% odds at the over -123. Everyone's got it middle of the road or favored to go over. So yeah, we are on the same page on this one. They don't like his longest reception. They think it's probably going to be more of a PPR type of a deal. They don't like his receiving yards either. They've got that favored to the under. It's set a little high at 86.5. That's why I didn't take him or T. Higgins receiving yards wise on the ladders play. I thought about it, but it's just all like yardage plays are the options for the ladders play. So I didn't feel as good about his receiving yards as I did about his receptions. Let's take a peek at this over under, see what they're projecting, because the Jets, it's just a rough situation out there. 44.5. Interesting. Higher than I was expecting. And then you've got Cincinnati favored by 6.5. Okay. All right, Dallas Goedert. Okay, so we're also taking his targets in this situation. And I know I was just talking about they've got Paulson Adebo out and Javon Holland out, which makes me like this, but I also think that Devonta Smith might be able to do a little bit more this time around than he did last time. Actually, is Paulson is for sure out, and Javon Holland is for sure out there safety as of 8 hours ago. So do we have an update on Brian Burns? He remains expected to play. Okay. So a little bit banged up, but they're thinking he's going to play. So let's talk about last time they played. He had 11 targets. I believe he turned that into 9 receptions. He had a decent game yardage-wise, but not for 9 receptions. It was still solid, but not enough for me to like his yards as much as his targets overall. You could take the receptions, but I think that's on Prizepicks set to a demon or a goblin. His line is not at 4.5. I think that's a goblin. Yeah, it's a goblin. So yeah, just give me the targets. The thing is like Jalen Hurts, he actually hasn't done very well when he's dealing with a lot of pressure. And last time they played, he was dealing with a lot of pressure, and the Giants weren't even pressuring as much as they typically do. They dialed it back just a little bit. They were playing man-to-man the whole time. And I think with Paulson Adebo out and Jalen Holland, I still think that this is a good opportunity for Goedert, because you also have AJ Brown out. So you have Devonta Smith, who's been on a burner last game, and now he's going to be the number 1, but maybe that draws more attention to him. I still think he'll have a good game, but I like Hurts to still feel that pressure because of Brian Burns still being in the game. So I think he's going to feel some pressure. He's going to have to make a quick decision. And now you got Javon Holland out as safety, who's maybe going to open things up more in the middle of the field where Dallas Goedert might be hanging out. So that's my thought process. Over 6.5, I think there will be at least 7 targets for him, and he doesn't even have to bring them down, although he had a good catch rate last time they played head-to-head. And we're taking a little bit of a chance here because he didn't have a great game against Minnesota, who is ranked second in targets, like the pace of the game and whatnot. But they were just tearing them up with AJ Brown and Devonta Smith. So I think this week it'll be more like we saw last time they played the Giants, which was crazy. It's just like in 3 weeks they're playing the Giants twice, just the way it worked out this year. So yeah, we've got AJ Brown out. We've got Javon Holland out. We've got the Giants, who are probably going to continue to try to pressure Hurts because it worked well last time, and maybe play man-to-man, even though their top cornerback is out. All right, let's take a look here at Goedert. We'll see a lot of times with the targets, the optimizer tends to not really know how to call it. See, 50-50 shot. It's because there's not a lot of platforms that put out targets as an option, so it just doesn't really know how to call it. It's not a whole lot of data to crunch. They like his fantasy score over 12, though, just slightly. 50.16% odds to hit the over. Yeah, at 12, I mean, it's a little higher. I thought that the targets were a better value at 6.5, personally, especially with AJ Brown out. So they're not feeling a lot of his stuff. The receiving yards they don't like, probably similar to what I was saying earlier, as far as the amount of yards he got for pulling down 9 receptions. I think he got like 110, which is great, but that's averaging like 12 yards a catch. So if he doesn't have the same type of outing, the yards might not be there. It's also a little bit more expensive on Prizepicks. Fantasy score they like over, and then the targets they got a 50-50 shot. So go with your gut there. All right, Jordan Love. We're just taking a chance here that he can continue the rushing yards like he has been doing. He's been running more than he has in his entire career. I locked this in at 12.5. It's still at 12.5 on Prizepicks, last I checked. But some platforms are moving it to 11.5. So Outlier is showing the 11.5. So he got 12 on this first one that's showing that he hit. But we got 4 straight games of 18 or more. And I believe they're playing on the road. Yeah, they're playing in Pittsburgh. So if we go and we take a look at the games on the road, yeah, not bad. He's hit it every time this year, 18 or more. So 12.5, kind of keeping it simple. Overall, they're ranked 18th in rushing yards allowed to quarterbacks, 15th. So it's a middle of the road matchup. It's nothing too scary. He's averaging about 4 rush attempts ish. So with this is the road game still. Let's just go here real quick. Yeah, he's averaging about 4 rush attempts a game, and he's been a little bit more productive as of late. I've noticed he's tending to run a little bit more. I mean, he's not running more, but he's running more of his runs are in like the first quarter, first half. So this is the night game. So we'll know. I think we'll know pretty quick if this is going to be looking good or not. Yeah. So over the 5 games that he's exceeded the 11.5 rushing yards, he's averaged 21.2 rushing yards a game in those games. So I'm not ready to come off this play yet, personally. Let's take a look here. Okay, so for Love, they like this passing yards combo quite a bit. Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love over 457.5. They got almost a 60% odds to hit the over. They like his passing yards over. Yeah, see, they don't like the rushing yards, probably because you have all these platforms at 11.5. They've got it favored to the under, the 12.5. So yeah, you guys can figure out what you want to do there. I'm going to take another chance on it because people have been saying this week after week because Jordan Love is not a mobile quarterback, but he's been running more lately. So I'm going to go off the last 4 or 5 weeks versus what he's done historically. Maybe I'll get burned for it. If I do, I do. This is like a month straight that he's been cashing this. So 51.99% odds to hit the under. They like his fantasy score over 16.5. They like his passing touchdowns over 1.5. And maybe it's the addition of Christian Watson getting back. So you got Matthew Golden, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs. You've got Tucker Kraft. You've got Josh Jacobs. So maybe they're thinking they might have a little bit more passing volume than they've had in the past. Maybe that's going to be the difference. I don't know. You guys let me know if there's something else that I'm missing that is the reason that they're calling this one to go under. So Cade Otton, I like this one out of necessity, especially. He's been popping off as of late. You can see this basic line is at 39.5, and we're getting it at 36.5. But he's got 3 straight weeks of 51 or more because we got Mike Evans out. We got Chris Godwin out again. Emeka Egbuka should be good to go. Tez Johnson has been popping off, but so has Cade Otton. So I think in this situation, I believe they're playing the Saints. We'll double check here. Look at this over under. Yes, they're playing the Saints, 46.5 over under, so decently high scoring. Tampa Bay just favored by 3.5, playing on the road. So I like Cade Otton to stay involved this week. If we look at the matchup, tough overall, 11th in receiving yards allowed. To tight ends, it softens up a little bit, 14th, averaging about 50.7 receiving yards a game is what they're giving up to tight ends. And we look at some of these pass matchups. So he put up 65 against Detroit, and then he put up 51 against San Francisco, who's ranked 15th, so just slightly better. And then against the Seahawks, he put up 81 when it was a softer matchup to tight ends, 24th. So I like him to continue to get this done, especially when we look at the targets here. You can see the steady incline. Baker's been relying on him more and more. They've been getting him more and more involved, and his snap share has been through the roof. He's virtually on the field like the entire game. So there's just going to be some situations where Baker needs to get to him. And if we look at the average yards per reception, really not too bad for a tight end, 10.7. He's had some games like back here against the Seahawks, the average was 20.3. If we look at the longest receptions, these have been solid too. So he's had in the last 3 weeks at least 1 catch per game that he brought down for 20 yards or more. So that's halfway to that's more than halfway at the 36. But I also like the upside in this if he ends up cashing that ladders play as well. Let's take a look, see if there's some other plays for Otton here that might be a value you guys are interested in versus just the receiving yards, but I think that's the best. So they like this combo. It is pretty decent, actually. You got Otton and Olave combined for 1 touchdown. They like it over 54.55% odds to hit the over. You could take a chance on that. And then you've got the receiving yards right there. They like that over 52.33% odds to hit the over. They like his longest reception over 15.5. We just said 3 weeks straight of a catch of 20 yards or more. They like his fantasy score over 10, and the targets once again are 50-50. So plenty of options to choose from there. All right, I think we're almost through the prize pick slip. This might be my favorite play on the day for Sunday. You got Alec Pierce. First of all, the Colts have been absolutely dominating in every way you can imagine. Maybe they could tighten things up a little bit on the defense, but that's just if we're splitting hairs, because their defense has looked good. It's just they've let some teams kind of creep back in when they've got the game out of reach anyways. So that's just me being extra critical if I'm looking for something that the Colts could work on. But on offense, Daniel Jones has been absolutely stellar. Jonathan Taylor, like Shane Steichen he's playing Madden right now with his play calling. And Alec Pierce has been getting more and more involved, and it's been successful. Now, he's traditionally a deep play type of guy, so I love these yards for him. He's at least gotten 36 every game this season with Daniel Jones. And then he's got that game against the Chargers, much tougher matchup. He put up 98 yards. That's why I like him for the ladders play as well. Like definitely good upside to hit that top tier. If we look at the target share too, that's why I told you guys he's kind of a deep play type guy. He doesn't necessarily get like a ton of receptions to get some of these heavy yardage. But last week he got a lot. He got 10 targets, pulled down just 5 of them, and turned those 5 into 98. So we look at the average yards per reception in 2025, 22.7. Average catch, 22.7. So we can hit this in 2 catches. We can hit the top tier in like 4 or 5 catches if it turns into a situation like that. They should be able to absolutely control this game against the Titans. So longest reception, it's beautiful to look at. He's got one last week of 48. We've got one back here in week 2 for 44. He's got a 36-yarder. His shortest outing was against Tennessee, who they are playing, right? So is this another situation where they've already played him this year? Back here to Alec Pierce. So he went for 67 last time they matched up, playing in Tennessee. Now they're playing at home, and I think I love this play. So he had 5 targets in that game against Tennessee. It was 41-20, and he still had 5 targets and 4 receptions. I think that he's a big part of what they're going to be doing in the first half, and the only downside to the upside, if that makes sense, as far as us hitting that top tier on the ladders play, is potentially if this gets so out of reach that they're putting in backups in the fourth quarter. But we'll have to see. I mean, Tennessee is an absolute mess too. Them and the Giants are just like trying to outdo each other with being the worst franchise. I think the Titans actually are slightly better than the Giants, because the Giants should be better than they are. Anyways, we're feeling good about Alec Pierce on both of these prize picks. And and speaking of prize picks, if you want to check out a demon play for Pierce, he's definitely a candidate there. Let's take a look, see what the old optimizer's thinking about this one. Yeah, just overs across the board. They like his longest reception over 19.5. Yeah, me too. That might even be an opportunity for a demon. 50.43, and there's not like a ton of juice on this, but still favoring it over. 50.43 odds to hit the over. They like the receiving yards at 35.5, 50.16% odds to the over. They like his fantasy score over 7.5. And then the targets are 50-50 at 4.5. Yeah, the targets are probably my least favorite of his on this, because he is a deep play guy and he's less of a volume guy, although 10 targets last week. Let's go back to that for just a sec. Let's see what that game ended at. 38-24. Isn't that crazy? They just went and dropped 38 on the Chargers, no problem. So the matchup against Tennessee, 14th in receiving yards allowed, 24th in receiving yards allowed to wide receivers specifically, about 157.7 a game is what they're allowing. And I think I think it's even worse than that. I think Tennessee is just so out of these games that they end up, teams can just like run the clock. So I think if they were a little bit more competitive on offense, that would look much worse, because teams would continue to pass on them in the second half. That's just my thoughts on it. All right, so getting to the last two plays on the ladders play, and then we're going to get into some bonus plays. So Chris Olave, he's been getting it done back-to-back weeks with 98 receiving yards. The matchup here against Tampa Bay, we talked about that over under, but we'll look at it again. 46.5, Tampa Bay favored by just 3.5, playing in New Orleans. So he's got the home field advantage, playing inside. And then the matchup against Tampa Bay, pretty solid. 23rd in receiving yards allowed. I think a lot of this has been tight ends and running backs, though. 251.6 on average is what teams are putting up on them. If you look at the wide receivers, it's still a soft matchup. 16th, 144. So teams through the air are hitting positions beside the wide receiver about 100 yards a game on Tampa Bay. So I still feel really comfortable with it because the targets should be there. His lowest outing on the season, I think I have it. This is last 5. Let's look at the whole season. Targets wise, his lowest outing was this game against Buffalo. He had 6 targets and 3 receptions. Other than that, it's 7 or more. So last week against Chicago, those 7 targets were his second lowest. And then every other week has been 10 targets. I like him to be able to get this for us. You can see it trending up on the average yards per reception too. You know who else is bouncing back for the Saints a little bit is Juwan Johnson. I just don't like the matchup as much at the tight end position, but that's someone you might want to look at too. If you want, maybe look at his receptions might be decent this week. Average yards per reception last 2 weeks. We got 16.3 average yards per catch, and then 19.6 last week against Chicago. Longest reception, he had 2 heavy hitters last 2 weeks. So a 53-yarder against New England, who's tough on defense, and then a 57-yarder against Chicago, who's also tough on defense. Let's look and see what some guys have been able to do against Tampa Bay. So we got Amon-Ra St. Brown put up 86 yards. Kendrick Bourne popped off for 142. That was one of the great weeks for Kendrick Bourne. Same game, Demarcus Robinson. He beat his line, was at 19.5, and he put up 44. Juwan Jennings did not get it done in that game. And then you've got Seattle here. All 3 of their guys, Torrey Horton, Cooper Kupp, and JSN. But JSN beats everybody this year, but all 3 of these guys were able to get it done through the air against Tampa Bay. It's looking solid for the ladders play, and we want that upside. We want a good chance of hitting that first tier, and we want the potential to hit that top tier, hit that 500x. So that's what we're aiming for, and he's been in rhythm. Kellen Moore's kind of figuring things out. Kellen Moore, I think, has done a great job, all things considered. The Saints are just one of those teams that it's not super shocking if they come out and beat a strong team or keep it close. So I think this will be a good matchup against Tampa Bay. Now, since the ladder slip is just receiving yards, that was the main breakdown that I did, but I'll still show you guys some pivots if you're looking at Prizepicks for Chris Olave potentially. They don't like his overall fantasy score. They got his receiving yards slightly favored to the under, but that line is set at 63. And I'll double check it real quick. Yeah, so we got, his first tier is 50. So it's kind of up there for Chris Olave. His top tier for him to cash is 120. So he needs to have a really good game for us to hit that ladder slip. But I mean, 98. So he needs like a little bit better game than he's had in the past 2 weeks. So longest reception, they like him to snag another one over 20.5, just slightly, 50.55% odds to hit the over. Targets are 50-50 once again. All right, wrapping it up. This has been a long one. Courtland Sutton, last play of the ladder slip. This one's just got huge upside. If we look at this is supposed to be a monster game. 51.5 over under. The Broncos have been letting teams put up quite a bit on them as of late for how good they are. The Cowboys, their defense has been really allowing the score to run up every single game. So both of these teams are capable of putting up a ton of points. So this should be an action-packed outing. Probably the highest over-under on the week, I would imagine, at 51.5. And Denver, playing in Denver, is only favored by 3.5. So this is a good game to get some high yardage. And he's been in rhythm here. 4 out of his last 5 games. Let's look at all of 2025. So it's really been those last 5 games where he's been popping off, where they've been really figuring things out. Because I know that Bo Nix kind of came out this year a little bit slow. They're kind of figuring things out. They're like, they went and drafted RJ Harvey and hasn't been utilized as much, but they've been working him in. But this matchup against Dallas is beautiful. Sorry, my voice is so scratchy for this video. 31st in receiving yards allowed. Almost 300 yards a game is what Dallas is allowing, 276.9. To wide receivers specifically, 29th in the league, 168.9 is what receivers are able to just consistently put up, collectively. Let's see, target-wise, it's been a little spiky. We got this down game against the Jets, which, like I was saying before about why I'm liking the receptions, but not necessarily expecting Jamar Chase to go absolutely nuts with receiving yards. He can. He's basically, he's arguably the best wide receiver in the league. But yeah, out of the last 3 weeks, there's only one game where he had a down game. And then those other 2 weeks, Sutton had 10 targets. So I expect the targets to be there, and the opportunity will be there in this matchup against Dallas, especially if the score is getting run up for him to get this done. We'll take a look at some of the last games they played. So when they played against Washington, you have 2 kind of no-namers, Jalen Lane, a wide receiver who's a rookie, and Chris Moore, who's a veteran who never really established himself. They both beat their lines. Jalen Lane went for 60, Chris Moore went for 59. Yeah, they don't have a lot of great examples here. Way back here at the beginning of October, Garrett Wilson beat his line, 71. So yeah, I expect, we can see the last 4 games that he cashed, he had 81 or more. So I liked him for the ladder slip. And that line was at 45, we're in the money. If he hits 45, if all these guys hit their low line, we're in the money. 2.5x, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong about that. I think it's 2.5x. I'll double check it. Maybe it's just 2x. Okay. Let's jump to some bonus plays. We'll start with Prizepicks. If you guys want the optimizer for yourself, if you play NBA, this has been killer for NBA so far, because the action is just nonstop, like I said, and you'll want, there's a lot of plays that pop up on here that'll be on there for 5 minutes, and then they're gone because it was a mistake on the part of the platform. So the optimizer is great about catching those and helping you lock them in quick. 25% off of your first purchase, so you can lock it in for a year if you want and take advantage of the rest of NFL and the rest of NBA. As long as you want to lock it in, just use code BACKDOOR. You'll get that 25% off. All right, let's take a look at some plays for the Sunday slate. Now it is football, so I'm going to go ahead and switch this to overs. And if you guys want to see unders, just tell me in the comments and I'll keep them on. But the correlation, the multiplier just gets trashed for football on Prizepicks if you're taking unders. So, so like Kirk Cousins. So we know Michael Penix has been ruled out. So Kirk Cousins, over 14.5 fantasy score. They've got that super juice, 63% odds to hit the over. Andy Dalton, similar situation, veteran backup. They like him over 13.5, 59% odds to hit the over that 13.5 fantasy score. We got this combo. We talked about that, the passing yards. Joe Flacco, they like him over 17 fantasy score. A lot of fantasy score to get us started here. 58% odds to hit the over. Devonta Smith, 5.5 receptions. Yep. I think he's going to have a better outing because we know that they're a little banged up on defense. 5.5 receptions, 56.53% odds to hit the over. A lot of juice on that one. Pinnacle has it at -144. So I don't know why no one's bumping it though. Why aren't they bumping it? That's the thing. Everyone's at 5.5 and they got a ton of juice on it, but they're not moving it. So I don't know. Aaron Rodgers, over 15.5 fantasy score, 55% odds to hit the over. Tua Tagovailoa, man, all these quarterback fantasy scores. A lot of juice. Over 13, 55.97% odds to hit the over. Jerry Jeudy and Stephon Diggs, over 100.5 receiving yards combo. 55% odds to hit the over. Bijan Robinson, over 17 rush attempts. Yeah, he better have over 17. That is cheaper on Prizepicks. It's all the way up at 18.5 on BetMGM, and everyone else has it at 17.5. But my thing is it's the Dolphins. So, and you got Penix out. So I think it's going to be just like the Bijan show until the game is out of reach. And then it's going to be the Tyler Algier show, because I don't know if Bijan finishes this whole game. Nick Chubb over 9 rush attempts. They like that over almost 55%. There's that Cade and Chris Olave touchdown, which sounds reasonable. I just think there's better plays out there, but there's a lot of juice on that one. So Bijan and Devon Achane over 152.5. They like that over 54.05% odds to the over. Jake Elliott for at least 2 field goals, almost 54%. Harold Fannin Jr. Yeah, I think this looks pretty solid. I think Njoku is going to be out for this game. Pretty sure. If he's not already ruled out, there's a good chance he doesn't play. And they have his reception set at just 3.5. So 53.53% odds to hit the over, according to the optimizer. CJ Stroud fantasy score over. They like it. Chris Boswell for at least 2 field goals. They like it over. Do a couple more, and then we're going to go to Underdog and get out of here. CD Lamb over 6 receptions. Mac Jones, just pick a quarterback, and they like the fantasy score over. It seems like for this slate. Rachaad White, they like him to get at least 1 touchdown, 53.08% odds to hit the over. I take that back. Dylan Gabriel, you probably don't want to take his fantasy score over, but they like his pass attempts over because they're probably going to be playing from behind. 32.5 odds to hit the over on the pass attempts for Dylan Gabriel. Jackson Dart over 239.5 passing plus rushing yards. 53% odds to hit the over. All right. See, I do all this because I appreciate you guys tuning into the show. This is a lot of work. All right, Underdog optimizer. Now let's refresh it just to make sure we got fresh plays. We do. Shocker. Starting us off is Kirk Cousins' fantasy score. 15.55 is what the line set at on Underdog. 60% odds to hit the over. Jalen Ramsey tackles plus assists. 3.5, a lot of juice, 57%. Okay, this is set to overs too, so I don't have to say the over every time. Andy Dalton fantasy score, they like it. Joe Flacco, similar situation. Aaron Rodgers, they like him to hit his as well. Woody Marks rush attempts, 9.5, they're feeling it. 54.91%, minus 140. Tua is good to go. Marcus Mariota, not a whole lot of juice. It's a little iffy, and this is the Monday game, so keep that in mind. But it's on there, so if you wanted to jump on it early, I want to tell you about it. It is set at 14.65. It's just iffy. I mean, he could crush this, and I guess it is set pretty low, though. He could crush this with rushing yards. You just don't know. Washington's been kind of trying to figure things out right now. But we've got Deebo Samuel back, and we've got, what's his name? Their other stud. I'm too tired to remember it right now. So Tua, they like his pass attempts over 30.5. Yeah, I think they'll be playing from behind because Bijan's going to run all over them. Troy Franklin over 33.5 receiving yards. I like this one a lot in this matchup against. I like all the receivers for the Broncos in this. Going up against Dallas in a high scoring over under. 53% odds to hit the over for Troy Franklin. That's a low line. James Cook, longest reception over 8.5. Feeling good about it. 53%. Joey Sly, kicking points, 4.5. Yeah, that is kind of low. 53%. Jackson Dart, they like his pass plus rushing as well on Underdog. It's at 239.5. 53%. They also like him to throw an interception, 0.5. Yeah, I think he's going to be feeling a little bit more pressure, but he's looked really good in tough matchups. But I think Jalen Carter is going to make it be a little bit of a different outing than last time and playing in Philly. So JCM here, they like him over 11.5 rush attempts. That's another Monday. A lot of Mondays on Underdog that the optimizer is picking up. Lines must be kind of low. They'll probably go up before game time. Cam Ward over 205.5 passing yards. We're kind of getting into the low 50s here, so I'm probably going to wrap it there. Dak Prescott, 35.5 pass attempts. They're feeling it. Matthew Golden, over 2.5 rushing yards. Okay, I think he's going to get a little sweep here and there. 52.65% odds to hit the over. We're going to kill it there. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Sorry if I've been low energy in the back half of this video. Put out an NBA video earlier, and I actually spent a ton of time doing research on this slate because we've got 6 teams on bye, and I just want to hit a 6-man, and I want at least half of these plays to hit for you guys. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like the video, drop me a comment. If you have questions, about plays, I'll try to get back to you. I got church in the morning, but I got time between now and then. I can hop on the apps and help you figure out some plays. And I think I mentioned it, but if you guys want Outlier, you can get it for a week for free. A little test run. Just sign up through the link below and you're good to go. And that covers everything. I'm going to go get some sleep. You guys enjoy your Sunday. I'll catch you in the next one.